Dozens of people left with nothing and no place to call home after their apartment building was destroyed by fire. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Macko. Amanda Barron has the day off. This is the fire from yesterday that displaced nearly 100 residents.
I got my Santa hat and everything. It's such a festive environment out here. I love seeing Capitol Street like this. Look at all these people, Amanda. This is amazing. We've got the library here. They're in front of the library. Look at all these folks here on Capitol Street.
The traffic on I-77 in one part of Jackson County has come to a halt after an accident that left a huge silo in the road. Huge.
30,000 pounds.
If you go to a food drive, sometimes you're thinking, what do I buy? What do I get? Do I get the canned sauerkraut? Do I get the lima beans? You don't want the lima beans. No. What you want to do is buy one of these bags for 10 or 20 bucks and look inside. You've got all the stuff you need. They make it easy. They take the guesswork out of it here.
Coming up, company versus company, why this athletic clothing company is suing over economic harm. Plus, a man risks his life to save his four-legged companion during a dangerous storm. And this 7-time Super Bowl winner announces that he is officially retiring, this time for good. You're watching Good Day at 4.
Continuing coverage of yesterday's deadly helicopter crash here in Logan County that killed 6 people. Now that helicopter, that Huey helicopter based here at the Logan County Airport, I can tell you that investigators from the NTSB are at the crash site right now.
You know, a lot of people in and around the Huntington area, they say that they are sad to see this happening. 13 News reporter Anna King.
We had a little bit of rain, so we had to move things inside. We're all putting up drywall here. We've been screwing in drywall, and this is a house that's going to go to Gregory Cooper. He's a deserving veteran here in Huntington. This is going to be his house.
But this building is so much more than a war memorial. Over the years, it's become an important cornerstone to the African-American community in Kimball and McDowell County. So just 1 week ago, meteorologist Brian Hughes set off on a voyage on the KDH stern wheel, headed for Pittsburgh and the backyard brawl. Well, Brian got to his destination on Sunday, and he's been having really the time of his life ever since then. Brian joins us now live from Pittsburgh with more on his haul to the brawl. How's it going there, Brian?
Yeah.
It always reminds me of the movie Groundhog Day.
Oh, I love that movie.
I do too.
For more reasons. Everybody go, oh, sure, you're a weather guy. It's
Right.
a great movie. Come on. It's funny.
It is a funny movie. I haven't watched it in a while, but maybe it's time to
Tonight,
fire it
tomorrow.
up again.
Yeah,
you know?
tonight, tomorrow. We'll watch it.
It's very timely, you know.
Have you ever been there?
I have not, but when I was at Penn State, a bunch of my fraternity brothers would go there like the night before. And
I think I was there with them one of those nights.
you probably were. I was not there.
I was there in the 90s. I covered that twice.
Oh, this would have been in the 90s, yeah. So they may have been there with you. And I'm Macko. The traffic on I-77 in one part of Jackson County has come to a halt after an accident that left a huge silo in the road. Huge.
30,000 pounds.
Well, as they say, timing is everything.
Wow,
so,
yeah.
We got that silo being trucked away. All right, a lot of people in Jackson County happy about that. We've been tracking a house fire in Ironton, Ohio. We just learned that everyone inside made it out safely. That's according to fire officials who say that crews are still on the scene there. This is about a block away from the old Ironton Tribune building, and we're going to get some more information for you as soon as we can.
Spencer is here now. Spencer, temperatures are supposed to drop tonight, and it's a good news.
Yeah, so you need your power when you know it's going to be this cold.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
New information tonight on that alleged assault at a high school basketball game this week. Well, someone stole 3 statues from the Our Lady of Fatima Shrine. This is in Lawrence County, Ohio, on Old Route 52. On January 20th, visitors noticed that 3 hand-carved marble statues were missing. The statues, depicting Portuguese children, weigh about 20 pounds each. Parishioners say they just want their statues back where they belong. Now, no other damage to the shrine was reported. Anyone with information should call the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office. All right, it seems like everyone's talking about the price of eggs, the high price of eggs, and because of it, some people are actually thinking about raising their own chickens.
Yeah, but there are some things that you should think about before you put up a chicken coop.
Well, U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia introduced 2 new Alzheimer's bills this week. 6.5 million Americans over the age of 65 are living with Alzheimer's, and Capito says more than 44,000 West Virginians will have the disease by 2025. The bills will help with Alzheimer's research with the end goal of finding a cure. Capito also talked about West Virginians' concerns over inflation. She says she hopes President Biden will address the issue during his State of the Union next week. Right now, we're going to take a live look out over Barbersville, and coming up, Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins will tell us about our chilly forecast. Meteorologist Brian Hughes joins us from tonight's VIP Charity Gala. Brian, how's it going there?
Oh, he's dancing. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's a party out here already.
There we go. That's what we're
going on there. Car lovers look forward to this all the
Yeah,
time.
I just am looking forward to that, Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
More news is up after this. Sports is next. I debated bringing my big heavy jacket today.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was going to be warm during
Yeah,
the day, but
yeah.
we're going to need it tonight.
We're definitely
Yeah.
going to need it.
You
Yeah.
need it tonight and tomorrow. Bring that coat and another coat.
Maybe bring your hat and gloves and scarf too.
I usually do just to the studio even when it's about 75 degrees.
Carry your groundhog with you because they can keep your hands warm.
They could do that too.
They were busy
That's-
today.
They were. The Groundhog Network was busy all across
They were.
America.
All kinds
All
of
over the
opposing
place,
predictions.
Yeah, lots of opposing viewpoints. Thanks for watching 13 News at 6.
We'll see you back here at 7. Have a great night, everybody.
Dozens of people left with nothing and no place to call home after their apartment building was destroyed by fire. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko. Amanda Barron has the day off. This is the fire from yesterday that displaced nearly 100 residents of the Regal apartment building over on Charleston's East End. Now, most of these units were occupied at the time of the disaster. You can see all that smoke and fire pouring out of the building. At first, you couldn't even see the flames, but it quickly developed to what you see here. Crews from multiple departments, multiple stations across the city of Charleston worked for hours to get this under control. And we now have the 911 call that was made yesterday afternoon for this fire. You can hear the caller explain the amount of smoke that he saw. And this was that fire burning yesterday. Thankfully, everyone is safe and accounted for. This is what it looks like today. This is the aftermath. Now, Captain David Hodges of the Charleston Fire Department says they made the decision to bring in an excavator because it was the best case scenario to control the fire. He also says the decision was one that they very rarely make. After hours of fighting the fire, they tore down the building on the side of caution. Now, this fire started just after 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon in the 1400 block of Canal Boulevard East. We've learned that 35 out of the 37 units in the building had people living in them. It's estimated that between 80 and 100 people are now without a place to call home. So we have team coverage for you tonight. 13 News reporter Rachel Pellegrino will have some perspective on what victims of this tragedy are going through during this time. But first, we're going to go to 13 News reporter Lane Ball to check in on the investigation looking into the cause of the fire. Lane, what'd you find out? All right, Lane, yeah, miraculous that no one was hurt in that fire. We're going to check in now with 13 News reporter Rachel Pellegrino. She joins us from the Best Western Hotel, where many of the fire victims have been staying. So, Rachel, there are a lot of organizations that are helping out with victim assistance. All right, Rachel, well, we do have some heartwarming news for you tonight. One of the residents of the Regal Apartments has been reunited with his furry friend. Martin Peterson was in Dunbar yesterday when he heard about the fire and got the call. He was told about the fire and he made it back as fast as he could, knowing that his dog was still in the apartment. Now, the firefighters wouldn't let him inside, but amazingly, they went back in to rescue Peterson's pit bull, who is now safe and sound. So despite it all, Peterson happy to be reunited with his best friend there. On to some background here. We also checked in with the county assessor's website to see who owns this apartment building. It's listed as WV 2020 Holding LLC out of Jacksonville, Florida. The county has appraised the building at $1.2 million. It's not clear how old the building is, but we can tell you based on our research that the building is at least 40 years old, maybe older. All right, turning to the forecast now, we're going to check in with meteorologist Chris Knoll. Chris, I saw some flurries in the air today, and I'm sure a lot of people did. So what can we expect tonight and into tomorrow? Chris, thanks. Well, the cleanup process just beginning today for what was the Regal apartment building. There's nothing salvageable, nothing left. Everyone's being forced to start over. All that's left is the rubble you see here. It's going to be removed by dump trucks. People can volunteer their time at the Red Cross if they would like to help. And there are many ways you can support the people who suffered this devastating loss. The Red Cross and several Charleston groups working together to help the folks who have been displaced in any way they can. So the Red Cross and the United Way of Central West Virginia are accepting monetary donations. Mayor Amy Schuler Goodwin says to put Regal apartment fire in the notes when you drop off a donation. Clothing and other necessities can be dropped off at the Mountain Mission. Now, yesterday, the Living Word Christian Center, which is near the old apartment building, let residents stay there for shelter until volunteers could find them a place to stay. And for a full list of places in need and to keep up to date on the help people are getting, you can check out our website at WOWKTV.com or check out our Facebook page or download our 13 News app.
If you follow basketball in the Charleston area, you've probably seen Matt Schock courtside.
He just worked the basketball tournament last week. In fact, he's been a huge part of Charleston high school and college basketball games for more than 20 years.
I started going to games with my grandpa when I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
And Matt Schock has been courtside at some of the best basketball games in Charleston ever since. This is him last week at the basketball tournament in Charleston. Schock has run the clock or scoreboard at thousands of basketball games, including the state high school basketball tournaments, for more than 20 years.
I've seen some great games at the Civic Center when the Mountaineers beat Florida, all the West Virginia Marshall games over the last 20 years. When they play their high school state championship games.
His love for basketball came from his grandfather, Kenny Schock. Kenny had a heart attack and died during the 2002 girls high school state basketball tournament in Charleston. Matt says his grandfather died doing what he loved.
He did it for, 30, 40 years. So I just kind of feel obligated, to keep doing it for him.
Schock also runs the clock at University of Charleston men's and women's basketball games. Dr. Bren Stevens is vice president and director of athletics at UC and has known Schock for 20 years.
He is a gem, first of all, and I would say, he's so important to us because he gets all of our table workers.
Schock graduated from the University of Charleston, so every game is a homecoming of sorts. Schock also has a pretty important day job. He's the principal here at Winfield Middle School. He's going into his 6th year. As you can imagine, on school days where there's UC games at night, things get very busy for him.
So we get out of school around 3:30 here. By the time take care of things and get up, you go home, take care of what you need to at home and get up the road. So it's a non-stop job whenever you have games at night.
Dr. Stevens says Schock makes her job easier and says the officials have great respect for him.
He enjoys working the games. He loves our athletes and coaches. So it's a win-win for both of us.
It's just a good atmosphere and something I enjoy doing.
And Schock says he's actually watched kids play games over the years that have now become coaches. Dr. Stevens says Schock has a contract for life at UC for as long as he wants to keep doing the game. Country music superstar Keith Urban is playing the Charleston Coliseum tomorrow night. Now, this concert will be a homecoming for his bass player, Jerry Flowers.
Jerry Flowers. Can I stop the flow of time?
Jerry Flowers is Keith Urban's bass player and will perform with him Saturday night at the Charleston Coliseum. Flowers is from Pinch, West Virginia, so this will be a homecoming celebration.
That's the place where I saw my first concert in 1984. I saw Van Halen there, and that changed my whole life, that moment.
He's played the Coliseum since then with Keith Urban and also the Dixie Chicks, but he still gets butterflies coming home.
I got a lot of friends coming and family, and I'm nervous, to be honest. I'm excited, but nervous.
Flowers has been in Urban's band for 17 years, but actually started playing with him shortly after he and his brother Randy moved to Nashville in 1993.
We played all over the country, every rough bar you could think of. It was brutal.
Things aren't so brutal anymore. Besides performing, Flowers is an accomplished songwriter.
It took me about 10 years after I got my first publishing deal before I saw any success.
We'll have a house party. We don't need nobody.
And then success came calling. He's written 5 #1 country songs.
I remember the first time I went to a Sam Hunt concert, and at the house party was the first hit I had with him. To see a crowd react to something you were a part of writing is a feeling like no other.
Despite all of that success, he doesn't plan to give up life on the road.
What I do with Keith really that's my sweet spot. Like when I get to play bass and sing harmonies, that's really where I'm the most comfortable.
He says fans can expect a fun, high-energy show in Charleston Saturday night.
There's rarely a night that I'm not amazed at what he can do. He is so good on stage. So anybody who comes to our show is just going to feel pure joy for 2 hours.
So much fun talking to him today. Now, Flowers and his brother, they actually used to play in a band in Nashville called Pinch. named after their hometown. He says Dustin Lynch has one of his songs, Party Mode, in the top 20 this week, and he says Morgan Wallen just recorded one of his songs on Monday.